name is Colin, and I just crossed over into my 40s. The demands of my life is what it is. I gotta work, I have to support, shape, and mold my children. I have husband obligations too. Sound familiar? After all that, I still desire to build something of my own. To build something takes time, our greatest asset. I want to reclaim the creative flame I once had and reach higher in business. To do this starts from within. If I'm better to myself, I can be better to others. Because I believe the ultimate form of medicine is personal investment. Most people don't quit because they're lazy. They quit because what they're doing is too big to survive real life. I didn't start with no plan or a brand. I started with one small rule that didn't break when life got loud. What's up? My name is Colin and welcome to the page. Let's get straight to it. 3 years, no skipped weeks, full-time job, 4 kids, and a camera that fits in my pocket. This wasn't about an upload streak. This was about not losing myself. When you hit your late 30s and early 40s, it's easy for identity to get buried under schedules and responsibilities. Am I lying? I felt that happening to me at least. And before I knew it, the creative part of me was disappearing. So I tried something small. 1 weekend recap, 90 seconds long, shot on my iPhone. I put this thing through the ringer. Look at these clips, man. Me and my daughter got it in. Have you guys ever done Bulgarian squats? Oof. It ain't for the faint. And guess what? I didn't plan for it to become anything. Go! Colin gets really discouraged when he can't do something, and this was one. But that one decision became the reason you're watching episode 2 of a 3-year streak. I don't know, I felt like wanting to tell you my story. So let me show you exactly how that happened. Buddy, look. Is this picking up? Let me put it over here. Look at this. Y'all see how beat up this is? iPhone 13 switched to the 14. I don't have the 13 anymore, but switched to iPhone 14 and handled that business. I upgraded since. Now let me keep it honest with you. The only reason why I upgraded is because of the level of what happened. I was forced to get a new phone, or else I'll still be rocking this. Not for this purpose anymore, but still rocking the phone. Listen, the first weekend recap wasn't a strategy. It wasn't a content plan. And to be honest, I wasn't even excited about doing it. I did it. It was a test. The test was simple. Is this small enough that I can actually keep going? Life was already loud, full-time job, 4 kids, sports, house, all of it. So I wasn't trying to prove if I still had the creative pulse. I wasn't trying to unlock some hidden artistry within myself. I was only trying to answer one question. Can I design something simple enough that the future me might actually be able to keep it up? Or is this just another idea I drop after 2 weeks? One weekend recap is not a breakthrough. One video doesn't prove capacity or discipline. One upload doesn't tell you anything about the next 51 weekends. But the first recap did give me one piece of data. I could shoot it with my phone I was already using. I could cut it down with the time I actually had. And it didn't wreck my household or my schedule. I didn't walk away inspired. I walked away thinking, okay, is this simple enough to survive my real life? I don't know. Let's push this test into the next week. And that's how it got started. Not a vision, not a brand, just a simplistic, stress-free test. So time went by. And at the very least, I knew one thing. My kids were deep into sports. So if nothing else was happening, I always had that to capture. Games, practices, warm-ups, sidelines. And if nothing else, I had a ball, a field, and a family to point the camera at. So I also figured out pretty quickly that I could shoot all weekends and talk later. I didn't need to be insightful in the moment. I could collect little clips as life happened and then do a voiceover at night on Sunday night when the house was finally quiet. Again, this was all about keeping it simple in the friction light, capturing what was already in front of me, reflecting on it after the fact. Big. Wrapping it up and moving on. At some point, I realized that I accidentally built a pattern. The videos kept opening in a similar way. Weekend 14 is in the books and it started like this. Weekend 45 is in the books and it started in here. They kept closing in a similar way. Weekend 51 is over. Super dope. Weekend 27 is over. Super dope. I hadn't just sat down and designed an intro and an outro, but they were there. It wasn't because I had everything figured out. I didn't. It was just my brain reaching out for familiar moves that could help. Those repeated pieces gave me a little bit of autonomy, to be honest with you. I didn't have to reinvent the structure every weekend. I could just drop new material into the skeleton that was already forming. So when I say reduce the scope, don't break the chain, this is where this comes from. The streak kept going because the scale of each video adjusted to the week. Not because life suddenly got easier or more organized. Uh-oh, my light just burned out. That means these might be going out too soon as well. Let's go, let's go. As much as I would like to tell you that I actually had a clean system from day one, that just isn't true. I wasn't sitting around thinking about workflows. On the contrary, I was thinking about survival though. I kept going because of three things. Well, at the time, didn't feel like systems, but they functioned like them. Number one, I already had the habit of pulling out my phone. I was recording little moments anyway of my kids, my sports, family, etc. So hitting record for those recaps wasn't some extra massive steps that I had to take. I just had to point with some intentions, maybe. You feel me? Two, I said it out loud to the internet. I told people that I would do this weekly, and for some reason that was enough friction in my head to not deviate from the mission easily. No mastermind group, no accountability coach, just a public statement that I wasn't willing to back out on. Number three, lazy templates. I built later. Over time, I did start repeating assets. Same thumbnail layout with a new screenshot dropped in. A similar editing flow, a familiar pacing, and honestly, those thumbnails were rough. They're still not where I want them to be, but they did one important thing. They lowered the thinking cost, and that is massive. I wasn't reinventing designs every week. I'm only calling these systems now because I can see them clearly in hindsight. But back then, it just felt like I was stumbling forward with whatever I had. But if you zoom out, those three things were doing the heavy lifting. The phone was always there. The public promise was hanging over my head. And the lazy templates made it hard not to finish. You feel me? That's the real structure that carried the streak, not the perfectly engineered productivity model. Period. Now, 3 years in, here's what the streak actually gave me. Internally, it gave me something to argue with myself about when doubt shows up. When my brain says, you're not consistent, you can't keep going, you're not built for this, I actually have a resume to point to now. And nothing beats a resume of things you've actually overcome. Ooh, that will preach. Because you actually get to use that truth against the mental load when it comes. It also gave me permission to keep exploring. You know, like once you see yourself follow through for this long, you stop asking, am I allowed to call myself a creative? And you start asking, what else can I build with this or around this? And it gives me authenticity when I talk about this. I'm not just giving you my opinion about consistency. I'm the living reps. Week after week. Listen, people can disagree with my style, my choices, my videos, but they can't take away the work that I put in. Those miles came from me, my left and my right feet. Those are mine. Now, externally, I built a real body of work over 150 episodes. Years of my kids growing up on the screen. A visible record of my improvements with cameras, lighting, and sound. And a portfolio that shows anyone paying attention that I don't just talk about creating. I actually do it. So yes, it is about legacy. It is about opportunities. But at the core, it's a long, detailed record that I can hold up whenever doubt starts creeping in. And that's something that I just wouldn't trade. Oh my gosh. You see, y'all see? We've fallen apart. We've fallen apart, but we're going to keep going. Y'all see this? I'm going to put all this in there too. Listen, if you're watching and you're somewhere between the 35, 55, working full time, raising a family, and trying to hang on to the creative part of yourself, here's the challenge. Give yourself 4 weeks. One tiny upload or a creative proof each week. Use your phone only and keep the scope small. Name the streak and protect it. That's actually how I started. This series is me reverse engineering how I've stayed consistent as a full-time working dad. The systems, the structure, and the honest reality of what it takes to keep the creative life alive after 40. Listen, if this lines up with you, stick around. I'm going to upload these joints every week. So please subscribe to the movement. If this doesn't line up with you and you know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody knows somebody that you feel like this better suits them, share it with somebody. I'm here to stay. Hiccups and all, it's going down. I will see y'all next week. And please, if you missed episode number 1, here it is.